Last time in this series we looked at conservation. In fact, we looked at conservation on a grand scale, whole wreck conservation, looking at the SS Great Britain as an example. And that leads me to my final topic in this series, which I'm going to call Getting Out of the Library. My name is Haigh. I'm the project director of a brand new operation based in the Caribbean called Wreck Hunters. We aim to teach the skills and techniques of diving archaeology based in the warm waters of Utila, a tiny Caribbean island off the coast of Honduras. Our focus is an 18th century wreck we call the Oliver, where we will teach these skills in ideal diving conditions. And as a precursor to that course, I am running a series of presentations about what diving archaeologists do on a day-to-day basis. And in this session, we're going to look at what I call getting out of the library. Glancing back a little bit at what we've done, but looking forward to developments in diving archaeology, both for our project and for the discipline as a whole. In this series, we have covered everything from looking for wrecks in deep water to recovering delicate objects, and everything in between. And the reason for that was to show you the range of skills which can be taught on a diving archaeology course. And of course, these skills can be applied in more general diving situations. I find myself gazing backwards to April 1986, when I instructed on the first ever Nautical Archaeology Society, or NAS for short, Part 1 course. The first ever structured diving course organised by a national body in this country. Up until that point, there were courses in diving archaeology, but they were all pretty ad hoc. The only one with any continuity was the one run by Dr. Toby Parker at the University of Bristol. This course was run over a weekend of lectures and pool sessions, and the idea was that if a diver or a diving club found something interesting on a dive, they could do a good enough job of recording of it to go to a museum or a professional archaeologist and show them what they'd found, and they could usefully interpret it. Because of course, even today, most archaeologists do not dive. These courses were always oversubscribed. And of course, it'll become as no surprise to you to learn that when the NAS brought out their Part 1 course, you could hardly get a trowel between its content and that of the course that Toby invented. Of course, the NAS course still runs today, but it has changed quite a lot in its content since the start. In fact, around the globe, there are many diving archaeology courses and field schools. We applaud this effort. They are all allies to ours. We are all preaching from the same book, the book of responsible wreck research. The advantage we have over many of these courses is we have a long field season, we have a real wreck in ideal diving conditions. So having glanced backwards, let's glance forwards, looking at the future for diving archaeology. So first look at high tech. The first area is autonomous vessels. These are still in development, but will soon be with us. In the future, fleets of these vessels will map the seabed. The first generation will not have a high enough resolution to find wrecks in deep water, but the second generation will. And as this information will be in the public domain, then everyone can be a wreck investigator. A great way for non-diving archaeologists to be involved in archaeology. The second is satellite reconnaissance, used now mainly in geography to plot weather systems in extreme locations. It will be used in the future to map the seabed. A blunt tool right now, but getting better. The third area is that of deep water excavation, where we have the tools to do millimeter accuracy excavation on deep water sites. These tools have yet to be linked to ROVs, but they will be in the future. And finally, with communication getting better all the time, in the future, project directors will be able to launch autonomous vehicles from autonomous vessels from the comfort of their own homes. So, what of lower cost, diver-focused operations? Many of the 3 to 4 million shipwrecks that lie beneath the waves are within safe diving limits. Many of these will contain important information, and many are at risk of destruction, either from man-made or from natural events. It is true to say that diving archaeology will never find a cure for cancer, but archaeology is a science, and science is important to mankind. A lot of this research is not glamorous, but then again, neither is virus research. Unfortunately, without the establishment of a national fund in reserve for wreck excavation and conservation, all diving archaeology projects, to an extent, will be expensive, especially if you have to pay your divers. Ask anyone involved in business, they will tell you that one of their biggest costs is wages. If there was a pool of well-trained amateur, skilled archaeologists available, this surely would facilitate more work in diving archaeology, and that's where we come in. And let me be very clear. By amateur, I do not mean less skilled. And for that example, I will simply take recreational scuba training. I have held, and in fact do hold, instructor qualifications with 5 different training agencies. Some of these pay their instructors, some of them do not. I have seen exceptional training and high standards from both paid and unpaid instructors. I think I've made my point. So finally, I'd just like to say that I've enjoyed making these series of presentations, and I hope you have enjoyed watching them. But, as that renowned academic Indiana Jones once said, if you want to be a good archaeologist, get out of the library. And we are getting out of the library. That was the last in my current series on diving archaeology. To keep up to date with all our developments, please visit our website, www.wreckhunters.co.uk. But for now, I wish you all safe and enjoyable diving.